All right, and I'm live. What's up, everybody? As getting everyone up to speed. Let me look at my notes. So first things first, if you're on my mailing list, by the way, you should join my mailing list. I'm going to be throwing a bunch of mailing list here. So you should always be on my mailing list so that you can not just updates, but you also get discounts. And let me know if the sound is not good or anything like that. Viewer activity. So welcome everybody. Join my mailing list, and then you will be having access to, discounts. And anytime I was asking people, I put out a survey, and I wrote here like right here. Take this survey, bam, and I'm just gonna play this. Connection good? Says it's excellent. Call of YouTube. Basically, the number one reason that people seem to not want to stick to a routine, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems to be that rings routine, and not everybody has an hour and a half. So as a solution, I've been coming up with a routine. I've been making a new program that's gonna be like a turbo program. Like it's more minimal, bare bones. Like you need like less exercises, very few exercises, so that you can get your workout done in like 30 minutes or less. And then I made that survey, which is the link to it, and then I'll have more responses, and I'll understand, I'll get your feedback is extremely valuable, basically. And the previous times, what's going on here? Yeah, your feedback is really valuable. Take the survey. Thank you, Araik, for the feedback that it sounds good on your phone. And Jake and Piyush, I will get to your questions, and anyone else who has any questions, I'll get to you soon. And one of the things I've noticed is that from working with online clients is that they don't have gymnastics rings. So a lot of you should consider getting gymnastics rings if you're into bodyweight training. Okay, and I'm gonna link to a pair of gymnastics rings right now. I wrote everyone should have rings, and there's an Amazon link to some wooden rings. You should always get wooden rings. The rings that I linked to there have long straps, so it allows you to set it up in a lot of places. Okay, so the reason why I recommend gymnastics rings is because it's the ultimate tool for upper body training. If you have rings, if you train using the gymnastics rings, you'll be never bored. You'll always have a way to make your workout really intense in a short amount of time. So everyone should have rings, okay? Very simple. And they used to be like 20 bucks. Now they're like 30, 40 bucks. Still cheap considering they last forever. And so I highly recommend it. And let me move on here. And by the way, if you haven't seen my latest yoga video, it's this fast flow yoga video. I'll just send the link in the chat right now. Do this video whenever you can. And latest yoga video, bam, it's a really good one. It's fast flowing, dynamic, very dynamic, faster than usual. And yeah, you guys should definitely be doing some yoga. And I also have like my top 10 I made a playlist of like my top 10 follow along yoga videos, since people like variety. Top 10 follow along yoga videos. So like I think everybody should be doing some yoga once a week, preferably. Maybe more, maybe less, it doesn't matter, but like definitely do some yoga, okay? Like it's just a general way to feel good in your body. It's gonna work on your flexibility. It's gonna make you feel good in your skin. When you're done, you feel a little bit of euphoria and you feel great that you got some movement in, was stretching every single part of your body. So Jake says, I don't have anywhere to hang the rings except for maybe the swing set at the kids park near my house. Honestly, there's nothing wrong with setting up at the kids park, okay? As long as you're not being a weirdo, you know, maybe go when there's like an off time when there's not so many kids, but you can try, usually above a stairwell, there will be a rail you can set up there, or find trees, look for trees, like your eye for scoping out, like your vision for being able to note that this tree is good for rings will improve once you start looking for it. So go visit the parks, go find horizontal branches that are a little taller than you that you can throw them up on. Or if anything, get a doorway pull-up bar and hang it from your doorway, your pull-up bar in your doorway, okay? So Mark is asking, is there any other park anywhere with traveling rings like Muscle Beach? Yeah, there's a bunch. I mean, not like tons, but there's a website, I think it's called travelingrings.org, I believe. They have like locations. Okay, I'm gonna send this link to you in the chat right now. Where are the traveling rings? And Mark J, there, I just linked it to you. And so there's like a map of it on Google Maps. Other than Santa Monica, there's one in Virginia Beach, there's one in New York City, San Antonio, Texas, Florida. Oh, I didn't know there's one in Florida now. Rhode Island, Utah, Escondido in California has some, Copenhagen has some, but the ones in Copenhagen are not so great because the rings are huge. It's like unrealistic and not great, but it's there. Serbia has some, Vietnam has some. These are like the latest ones, like, and of course in Black Rock City and Burning Man, there's a Swing City camp. They always set it up. And so on and so forth, you know, just check that link out. And yeah, definitely everyone should have rings. That's what I was going on about. And then a few other things I just wanted to say is that basically there are few things you should have if you're into bodyweight training, okay? You should have a pull-up bar. Just get a doorway pull-up bar. I don't care if you don't like pull-ups, you don't do pull-ups. You don't even have to have a pull-up bar to do pull-ups. You should have a pull-up bar or access to a pull-up bar just so you can hang. Literally, like, you know, every once in a while, just like hang from the bar and just relax in that hang. That alone stretches out your chest, stretches out your lats, your back. It allows your spine to decompress, and it's just very healthy. And then of course you could do like scapular pulls, scapular rolls, like while you're hanging with straight arms, like just moving your shoulders in a circle. You know, like just those things alone are therapeutic. So everyone should have a pull-up bar just to hang, minimum. The other thing everyone should have is floor space to just lay on your back, not your mattress. I get it, you can lay on your bed, but like the floor is different, it's firm. So clear the furniture away once in a while to allow yourself to just sprawl out like crazy. You know, like whenever I go into people's homes, and like let's say they live in a small apartment, or it could even be a large home, but they have so much furniture. You walk in and you see it's very crowded with furniture, and you know, like I know at least, that these people never go on the floor and just do simple stretches because of the way their home is set up. Like, so please create space, like a large, like move the coffee table, do whatever you need to do to make some space, so you can literally just like lay and twist your legs to the side, you know, like just explore a little bit of movement. Okay, so pull-up bar everyone should have. Floor space, you should create some floor space, do some yoga, do whatever, just like sprawl on the floor and just play around. Okay, and look at what your pets do, your dogs, your cats, like they just stretch every like 30 minutes, right? Every time they like get up, they do a little stretch. Every time they stretch, you stretch. Okay, try that. You know, if you have a pet, stretch when they stretch, and you'll find that you feel so much better, even though it's just for like a few seconds that they're stretching, right? So another thing everyone should have is a foam roller. And a foam roller, like if you're not familiar with it, it's like basically, here's like, let me see how this looks. This is like a foam roller here, and I'm rolling my upper back over it. It's just basically a self-massage tool, and it's fantastic for your upper back. And of course you could do it for your neck, your calves, like so, and then your shins, your quads, most importantly, especially if you do any bicycling, running, hiking, whatever. Doing a nice little foam roller session on the front of your thighs is really good, and then the side of your thighs, like this one is murderous if you haven't done it before. And anyway, it's basically like a really good tool, and again, it's cheap. And if you don't know, so I'll just like link this, like how I use my foam roller. So the link to this blog post is there. And if you're not sure which one to buy, which foam roller to buy, I have a guide, and I just link that as well, which looks like this. And yeah, and I'll get to your questions really soon, guys. Just like keep throwing them on. So I went over, you need a pull-up bar to hang, floor space, clear some floor space to sprawl on the floor, get a foam roller if you don't already, and get a pair of gymnastics rings. I linked to a pair of gymnastics rings in the chat. It's just really good. Like, other than it being the ultimate tool for upper body strength, it's extremely humbling all the time. You'll never get bored of it. Like, you'll never reach a level where you've outgrown the rings, because literally gymnasts use them for training or for, you know, performing, and there's always something harder that they can do, right? And the last thing is basically, out of those are the most important things, but like, other than that, some resistance bands are really helpful sometimes. These like resistance bands are not like highly necessary or crucial, but it's nice to have. And if you have light resistance bands like a TheraBand, which I have, like I made this video here, Bulletproof Your Shoulders, and I basically show how you can use like a light resistance band for your shoulders. Okay, so like that is also really good to have. And yeah, other than that, if you have a pair of dumbbells, it doesn't have to be like heavy dumbbells, just some dumbbells are useful sometimes to use as a counterweight, or sometimes to use as for accessory exercises, or adding weight to body weight exercises, or specifically for some leg exercises. Okay, so you guys, if you're a follower of me and you don't have a pull-up bar, you don't have like a lot of floor space, you don't have a foam roller, you don't have a pair of rings, please get those things. That should be like your minimum things you should have, especially if gyms are closed or you don't want to go to the gym. These things are crucial. Okay, this is like really good for your health in the long term, just in the long term. That's it. Okay, So yeah, awesome. Very cool. We got a good amount of viewers now. Smash that like button. And if you're coming in late, I made a survey. I'm gonna link it here in the chat. Please take this survey because I'm creating a strength training program that does not take an hour or an hour and a half of your time. I'm making it such that it's more minimal in its essence because it turns out most people don't have an hour and a half to spare. And since consistency is the most important factor in sticking to a program, consistency is the most important factor to succeeding or having progress. I'm making something that's more time efficient, and so your feedback with this survey will help me understand a little bit more, and that's all I gotta say. Other than that, I hope everyone is doing all right. I know we're still in this weird pandemic phase where it's still being thrown in on our lives, and you know, there's like the vaccine group and the non-vaccine group, and I feel like this whole world is like just getting more and more divided. It's like, I don't know if it's the media or it's just human nature to constantly divide everything in a black and white issue. Everything is much more complex than black and white, yet people want to make complex issues into black and white issues. And I don't know when we're gonna stop wearing masks. Like, still trips me out when I see people wearing masks in their car driving alone. Like, I really don't get it. I see that all the time. And it also blows my mind whenever I see people walking around, alone in like areas that have no people, and they're wearing a mask all the time. Maybe they're doing it because the sun protection is nice. I don't know, but like some people seem to like doing that. I don't know. And restaurants are opening. I live in Los Angeles, and restaurants, indoor dining is opening up here, so that's becoming more normal at least. And yeah, also it was really weird whenever they allowed outdoor dining. So if a restaurant didn't actually have any proper outdoor dining, they like created outdoor dining and then they put a tent. So they created an indoor space outdoors, and that was okay. So that like just blows my mind, like how weird all of this has been. Okay, so anyway, I'll stop with that rant. And oh, someone left a comment the other day. It's like someone had, it was on Reddit. Someone had posted a video of someone who was shirtless, and then they had said, why does this guy never wear shirts? And it was not referring to me. It was referring to a different YouTuber. You know, they have like six pack and whatever. They're always shirtless just to show off their physique, right? They gain more credibility like that, probably. So. And the commenter said, they said, why does this guy never wear shirts? And then the reply was, they gave them all to me. They gave them all to Antranik. And I realized he said that because in the last like 2-3 years, I went from like not wearing shirts in my videos to always wearing a shirt. But it has nothing to do with my physique. It has to do with the fact that I use a microphone. I have one on right now, so that the audio is better, because like before I didn't have like clean audio, like so, but a lapel mic works really good and I want the audio to be good. So anyway, that was like a little side thing. I'll get to your questions right now. So Jake was the first one. He said, have you had any experience with low heart rate aerobic training? I'm really enjoying the freedom, permission to embrace going slow while focusing on breathing on runs. Low heart rate aerobic training, like, you mean like walking? I mean, I don't necessarily consider it training with your, like, I don't necessarily consider it to be a cardiovascular exercise if my heart rate's not going much higher than normal. Like, so no, I don't have like any specific experience with that. It seems like you're doing it like you're focusing on your breath, like as if like it's more of a meditation of a sort of thing, which is really cool. I highly approve of that. But in general, the heart muscle, the only way you can train it, since you can't like make it contract harder, it can only contract faster, unlike any other muscle in your body. The cardiac muscle can only be trained by just making it move at a faster rate. So you gotta throw some cardio in your life where you actually make it, you know, make it go up. And yeah, if you are enjoying that, man, that's good. Like, that's all good. Find what works for you, find what's your meditation. Piyush is asking, would you suggest clean bulking for a beginner? Okay, so I would always suggest clean bulking in general. Whether you're a beginner or not doesn't matter. But if your question is if bulking is the right move for you, in general, you will build muscle and put a little bit of fat on when you are bulking, okay? And then when you're cutting, when you're eating less calories than you need to, your goal is to lose fat, and you're not really going to gain much muscle. Your goal is to maintain that strength, maybe gain some muscle, but in general, if you're eating less calories than you need to, you're going to lose some fat, and you're going to keep working out hard so that you don't lose any muscle mass. All right? And and you can't like work yourself out too hard when you're on a cut, because your recovery is going to be shot since you're eating less. So you have to find that balance. And usually what happens is people lose fat, and then the muscle definition appears, so they look like they've gained muscle, but it's not necessarily true. Okay, so just a couple of things to think about there. But in general, you want to give your body a very clear message. Are you cutting or are you bulking? Because the body works very, very efficiently when you're doing one or the other. It doesn't work so well to eat at maintenance and just try to lose fat and gain muscle. So like everyone's goal all the time is, I want to lose fat and I want to look better, gain some muscle so my physique looks better. But in reality, you have to, if you eat at maintenance, body recomposition is a very slow and inefficient process. You have to give the signal that you're either you're bulking, you're in an anabolic state where you're in a growing state, or you're in a catabolic state, meaning you are eating less calories than you need to, and your body is destroying some fat to make energy for the amount that you're not eating. Okay. I'm going off a little too much on that maybe, but let me go to the next questions. So I answered Jake, I answered Mark. Passerby says, hi, I hope you're doing great. I am doing great, thank you. Hope you're having a great day. Thank you, Deceptive Banana. And let's see. Oh, Passerby is asking, hang with activated shoulders or head down? You mean when like just to hang? When I said hang, everyone should have a pull-up bar just to hang. It's up to you whether you want to hang in a relaxed state or active state, or do scapular pulls where you're just alternating between the two. If you don't have any history of shoulder dislocations and your shoulders don't hurt from doing a passive hang where you allow your shoulders to cover your ears, then that is fine to do. A nice passive hang is fine. And yeah, next question, passerby is asking, it says, I do your wrist warm-ups before my recommended routine, but I have this pain in the bottom of my wrist that stays for weeks and then it's fine. Is there anything I could do for this, or should I just pay for physio? So I have like let me type wrist sprains Antranik. That okay, so there's I have an article. I'm gonna tag you right now, passerby. So this is like how to deal with wrist sprains. Like, here's all my tips for it, and then I also have a different article on how to avoid wrist pain in yoga and bodyweight exercises in general. And so I just linked those in the chat. Check those out. See what I basically say what you should do and how you can help to, so you don't have this issue anymore. And in general, if you have weak wrists, like I used to have weak wrists and I thought they would always be weak, but I just kept working on it, kept doing my wrist stretches, wrist warm up. And then like after like 2-3 years, I realized, hey, I don't have any more wrist pain. So it does go away. It just takes a long time because the connective tissue, this is like your wrists are like, it's just like bone and connective tissue. So those are avascular, meaning like they have very little blood flow. There's not much like, there's not like an intense amount of blood going through connective tissue. And blood is what supplies the nutrients to the body. Like that's how it carries, like blood carries nutrients around the body. And so wrists are very slow to heal in general, and you have to be careful and you have to be patient with how long it takes for them to actually get stronger. Okay? So if you guys have any questions, please jump in, and I'm gonna go on until the questions stop coming in, and then I call it the end of my Sunday. So passerby is asking, should I get rings even though I don't have basic strength? I can hold myself on the kitchen counter for 30 seconds and do 4 proper push-ups, and I can do a whole set of door sheet rows. So I will tell you that the rings are extremely tolerable in regards to progression exercises. So like I have really good videos, not to toot my own horn, but they are really high quality videos on, let me just go rings on Antranik. Like, let's see, like for example, you can start by doing the support hold, for example, right? So like this basic thing that you can do on your kitchen counter normally, you will start doing on the rings. Okay, like start doing that on the rings, and like eventually, like I say, like this basic support hold is like very humbling. Okay, like you could go from parallel bars to your kitchen counter to just between the doors, I mean between the chairs, and then move on to the rings, and that alone is a very good exercise. And then after you do that, you're good at that, then you can move on to ring rows. Not move on, but like another thing you could do is like you could do your rows using the rings instead of the bed sheet, and how high you set the rings determines how hard it is, right? So it's extremely well for just being able to find the intensity that works for you, right? And then if you can do 4 proper push-ups on the floor right now, great. You can actually start doing push-ups on the rings, and how high you can like set the rings higher than the floor. So you're doing incline push-ups on the rings, and it's gonna feel very unstable at first until it feels more stable. All right, so there's other things like other fun things like the inverted hang, for example. Like the rings inverted hang looks like this, and this might look like a difficult exercise, but it's not. It's really easy and it's fun because you get to go upside down, right? And I show like different ways you could get into it. So if you can't get into it from the front, you could get into it from the back, like this, where you're standing, put your arms behind you, and then you're basically gonna just bend your knees and then hop up. So like from here, you're just gonna, I'm probably saying that in the video, like you're just gonna hop up into the inverted hang, and this is super easy. Okay, like anyway, just my point is, even if you have basic strength, the rings are a great purchase. Okay, very helpful, and plus it's going to be motivating whenever, you know, like it's just motivating in general to have like access to this and then have something to work toward, you know. Anyway, Anthony's asking opinion on a plastic-based diet. I don't know what that means. Is that a joke? I don't understand. I'm plastic. I'm just gonna Google it. Based diet. I doubt that's something. Ultimate plastic diet. I don't know what that means. Yeah, you mean plant-based, right? I'm guessing you mean plant-based. Plant-based diet is great in general. Plant-based diet is very good. It's harder to get protein in if you're a complete vegetarian, and I believe protein, in my experience, protein is very, very useful to easily, like if you're eating meats, like it's very easy to eat some meat and get a lot of protein in, and that protein helps with your recovery dramatically. Okay, so I think it's good to have a plant-based diet, but it don't have to be too extreme on one thing or too extreme on another. Try to find a middle ground. Be a flexitarian. Okay. So, oh yeah, you say plant after. Okay, you did mean plant. So anyway, yeah. So next question, William John. Antranik, hope you're keeping well. Yes, sir. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to do this. You're welcome. I'm not sure if you've answered this before, but what's your top 5 books you'd read and recommend? Oh, that's a tough one, man. That's like, I can't answer that off the top of my head. I'm not like a big book nerd. Like, I read here and there. Yeah, if I would have to like look at my books. I have a bookshelf outside there and kind of like scroll through it. But I'll tell you this: I'm not a religious person, but like there was a book called Conversations with God. That was when I read this when I was like in my late teens, and this one is like there are 3 books. I read them all, but the first book was fantastic. I recommend this Conversations with God book, especially if you're young. It's like, it was interesting. Just like, you don't even have to be a religious person. It's just cool. Okay, and it's nice. It's like, anyway, you could like read it like and just pretend it's fiction completely. Take it however way you would like. But that was a cool one. If you want something bodyweight oriented, Overcoming Gravity is like the Bible. Overcoming Gravity is really good. And then if you're looking for a book like on relationships, No More Mr. Nice Guy, I think was that? Yeah, No More Mr. Nice Guy was a really good book. Yeah, this was a really good book for that. And then I'm reading a book right now, I can't remember the name of it. It's called The End of Money. It's more like The End of Money. Where is it? Was it called The End of Money? Oh no, it's called When Money Dies. The Nightmare of Deficit Spending, Devaluation, and Hyperinflation in Weimar, Germany. Which is really cool because it's like basically like, so when Germany lost the war in World War II, afterwards, you know, the country was wrecked, right? So their currency started to lose value because of hyperinflation, because they just kept printing money, which is kind of what's happening right now. And everyone was unemployed, and you know what they were doing? They were playing the stock market because they were unemployed, jobless, and what was happening to the stock market? It was skyrocketing. Why was it skyrocketing? Not only because everyone's putting their money in there, but because the money was losing value so hard that due to hyperinflation, that the cost of everything was going up exponentially. So it looked like they were making money because their stocks and everything was going up, but in actuality, they weren't even beating inflation. Okay, which is kind of what's happening right now in the entire world. When the pandemic started, all the major countries of the world started printing money. So a lot of people say, oh, the dollar is going to shit because of this, but really it's not just the dollar, it's the euro, it's a lot of countries. And I think what's going to happen is like the Turkish lira will collapse. It's one of those emerging markets. So like, let's say, like, you know, Argentina's currency has collapsed already multiple times in my lifetime. And then Venezuela is going through the same thing. And but then whenever you get like a bigger country like Turkey, whose currency collapses, people are going to be scrambling for dollars. Like if you live in Turkey or in a country where your money is losing value, you're going to look for US dollars, right? Or maybe euros as a safe haven to, like, so because your money's going to shit. Same thing's happening in Lebanon. Like they lost 70 to 90% of their value. And where was I going with this? Oh yeah, I was saying, like, basically inflation is happening at an extremely rapid rate. And a lot of people think, oh, because the United States is printing so much money, the dollar is going to collapse. But in reality, the dollar will be in high demand for a long time because it's going to be what people are running to in other countries where inflation is an even greater issue. And I think in like 10 years, the euro might not even exist because the whole thing will collapse. And there's going to have to be a great restructuring, a huge debt forgiveness across all the central banks to restructure everything. And I'm kind of like, this is completely off from a typical topic that I talk about, but I am a finance major originally. I have a bachelor's in finance, so this has always been like a thing I'm into. So anyway, so those are some of those books I recommended. And go back to this, and let's go back to your questions. Where am I in the chat? Dun, 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 dun. A lot of people saying thank you, you're welcome. And all right, next. Which do you think you could throw further, an empty can of beans or a wet handful of cold beans straight from the can? Probably an empty can of beans. I don't know why you're asking that. Would you rather have one of your hands super glued to one of your feet, or both of your hands super glued together, and why? For the natural duration of the glue, so no cheating. Okay, so would I rather have one of my hands super glued to one of my feet or both of my hands super glued together? I mean, if I had to choose one or the other, I guess like hands super glued together is gonna be less awkward, still sucks, than hands glued to one of my feet. This was a funny question. I find it funny. Thank you for asking, Dominic. Passerby says, thanks for your advice. You made me like working out, which was never the case. That's awesome. Luis, hey Antranik, I love you, man. Thank you. It was your videos that helped me begin the bodyweight fitness with the recommended routine. Your video explaining how to do rows using a bed sheet and a door was the thing that started it all. If you guys aren't sure what he's talking about, if you look for how to do incline rows with minimal equipment, this was like the video that helped a lot of people. Shit, it has like 800,000 views already. Basically, you know, there's a lot of ways to do rows, like using a low bar or rings, or, you know, harder version of rings, and or using a very sturdy table, right? And if you have those things, or if you don't have any of those things, then you can get a bed sheet, make a knot at the end of it, throw it over the door, close the door, and then do your rows. Okay, so just like, I'll link that in the chat. How to do rows with minimal equipment. And yeah, thanks, Luis. Thoughts on using Serge Nubrit's method of training with calisthenics? I'm not familiar with that, so I can't say right now. Cyrus is asking, hey Antranik, any good lower back stretches? Lower back stretches, good one. Child's pose is a good one. Like, child's pose is really, you know, it's not like a strong lower back stretch, but it's a good one. Like, you just sit, like, I mean, you put your feet together, knees apart, sit on your heels, and then like just lay your forehead on the floor, and it's like a simple back release, you know. Another one that's really good, that's a lot more difficult, is plow pose. And plow pose is dope. It's like this, you know. And if you are not familiar with plow pose, get a blanket and put it, let me see if someone has it. See how this person has a folded up blanket and their head is hanging below the blanket, so their upper back is on the blanket and their head is hanging below it. Do it that way. Don't look left or right. And this will make it such that if you have tight shoulders and a tight neck, that it will be easier, not easier, safer to do in general. Okay, here's another, that's a small image. But basically like this, with your head hanging below it, is the safest way to get into it. And in general, it's a fantastic lower back stretch. And so those are like the two that come to mind. In general, you don't want to directly stretch your lower back very hard because it can cause problems. Your lower back shouldn't be stretched to the max. You should only do it when you're warmed up. So like you'll find like in yoga classes that they do this, they will throw in a plow pose at the very end, because that's when you're really warmed. You stretch the other parts of your body. So and if you're having sharp lower back pain, you might want to get that checked out. In general, doing a low lunge with generally like doing a low lunge, like I have a video on how to do a low lunge like this, when you grab the back foot with your opposite hand. It's really good for opening up your hip flexors. And the reason you want to open up your hip flexors for your lower back is because the hip flexors, look at this, connect to your lower back. So it goes from like your thighs, your quads, let's say, or your psoas, like they connect to the vertebrae, like through your hips and to your lower back. So if this is tight, if your hip flexors are tight, it's gonna be like, here's another one, like it goes and through to the back of your spine. If they're tight, that means your lower back is being pushed forward, creating anterior pelvic tilt, putting strain on the vertebrae there. So in general, whenever people have lower back issues, I tell them to try stretching their hip flexors first rather than doing any hard, direct lower back stretches. Okay? So I hope that helps, Cyrus. And next, Lesorax asks, are you still dabbling with crypto? What do you think about the Doge Moon? So yes, I am always, so I've been into crypto since 2017. And the whole thing is like, to me, like the whole thing is a big pump and dump. I know everyone's gonna be like, no, it's going to the moon. Elon Musk is behind it and God knows what, and like I'll just show you this chart. Like there's a chart I can show you guys just to reiterate like what I think is happening, what happens every 4 years, what happens. Let's go Doge BTC, and Bittrex I believe has like the highest one. So what happens every, let's do like monthly candles. Yeah, it's gone insane, obviously. Even the log scale is not enough. But like, let's ignore what happened this month. What happens every day? What happens every 4 years with Dogecoin? This is what happens. Big pump, dump. 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 Now what's happening? Giant, massive, mega pump. Do you think it's not gonna dump? It's gonna dump. Maybe it doesn't dump this year, but like these are weekly candles, so like this is like a long, you know, like it might take a few weeks or a few months, but eventually it'll probably go lower, back to where it started from. Okay, because there's no way if you bought like down here, there's no way you're not selling up here. You know, I know people who bought some here, their $100 is worth $10,000. You think they're not selling? Anyway, just understand the whole world is a big pump and dump, and don't get played. Okay, don't buy the top on things, don't FOMO into shit. Like it's not just gonna go forever higher and higher. I don't know what the top is for anything, there's no way to know, but just don't get complacent. If you made like insane amount of money, you doubled your money in a week, take out that original half that you put in, and don't be greedy. Greed is what fucks you in the ass. Okay, so that's just some little tips there. What's your opinion on cold exposure and sauna? I believe just like exposing yourself to the cold and like getting used to it is very healthy for your immune system in general. Yeah, the more resilience you create to the cold, the better you will be able to tolerate uncomfortable situations, and you're gonna have your comfort zone increases. Okay, so you have to be in a little bit of discomfort to increase your range of comfort, so to speak. Okay, so that's my thoughts on that. And a sauna, I believe, is very healthy in general. If you have access to a sauna, it's just nice. It's just nice in general. And yeah, So Del J says, be careful about money and predicting inflation crisis. This is a very complex topic. It's an extremely complex topic for sure. Like, a lot of people think inflation is just going to go rampant. There's going to be a deflationary bust, most likely. I believe we will actually go through deflation to mitigate the inflation. But in the very long run, like 10 years out, inflation is still always going to be there. So it's just like the way it works, right? Very complex topic. I don't want to go too deeper in that. Have you ever thought about making some advanced yoga videos with more complex poses? I miss pushing myself and trying new things that in-person yoga studios do, and taking their harder classes. So like this latest yoga video that I did with the fast yoga flow has a lot of new stuff. So if you haven't tried that, Jake, do that, and then go to I do have like some advanced yoga videos. Let me see what happens if I type that. I had a playlist of this stuff. I just need to go to my playlists here. Yeah, so I'll just link this to you. Yoga flexibility and strength advancement tips. So I will tag you, Jake. Check out this playlist. You know, like how to intensify your push-ups to get mad strong in yoga class. Must know ways to strengthen the wrists in yoga class. Top 5 ways to maximally stretch your hip flexors in yoga class. Top tips for mad hamstring gains, especially in yoga class. And how to take your downward dog to the next level. Okay, so these are just like some tips you'll be able to incorporate in your own practice, or whenever you're in a class and you're like, I could do something more than this, and so you'll be able to you know, up your gains there. So hey guys, hey, so I've caught up to the chat. If anyone doesn't have any more questions, I will be ending it soon because I've been running my mouth non-stop. Was there anything that I wanted to go over? Yeah, I think I went over everything. Yeah, so have you ever learned deeper into Hinduism? Not really. I'm not like too crazy with going too deep into any specific religion, though I find it fascinating. I find Buddhism fascinating, but like I believe that there's like, whenever you go too deep into it, like, you know, it's all just a bunch of stories trying to tell you a message. And I think the best thing to do is, like, you know, read about it, look into it, find like morsels in there that you find ring true with you, and just adopt those and live your life like that. So whether that's like parts of Christianity, Hinduism, Shintoism, Buddhism, whatever, just like, you know, mix and match, make it work for you. You know. Yeah, Zen Buddhism is really fascinating. It's incredible, like, what people can do when they are actually Zen, you know. Thanks. And since you have a degree in finance, what are your thoughts in decentralized finance, DeFi? So I believe that the decentralized finance is basically, if you're not familiar with it, for the other viewers, it's a way to like, basically, let's say you have like a cryptocurrency, you lock up your money in a smart contract, meaning you, like, instead of you giving your money to a bank, there are decentralized ways to do this now, where you keep your wallet, you keep your keys to your wallet, you don't give your money to anyone else, but you can, the programmers have created a way to lock up your money in certain programs, so to speak, so that you can earn interest or lend your money So you use your collateral, like you use your principal amount as collateral. And I believe that there is gonna be a lot of use for it. However, this also reminds me of staking. I don't know if you're familiar, not proof of stake, but there were a lot of, so like this whole thing with like DeFi, I feel like it's an evolved version of staking, where, okay, you stake your coins and we'll give you 5% of those same coins every year, which is a form of inflation. And whatever happened to all of those in the past, they end up getting dumped on. Okay, if you keep collecting enough of something, you're gonna sell it eventually. Does it have use? Absolutely. Is it gonna change the world? Maybe, but just be skeptical of everything. Okay, the world is full of scammers. Okay, especially in the cryptocurrency world. Nothing new under the sun there. Okay, people are gonna keep doing keep finding ways to trick you and keep making you think that this is the next big thing. And the next bear market is going to be very interesting to see what actually survives from this frenzy. Okay, and I was going to say something about that. Oh yeah, like since we are in a bull market, meaning the price of everything is going up in the stocks and the cryptocurrency world, all of a sudden you have all these traders who believe that they're the best fucking traders in the world because they are making money. But the reason they're making money is because if they make any mistake, all they have to do is keep holding and the price goes back up. And so you can't lose in the bull market, right? And the saying is, everyone's a genius in a bull market, right? Everyone thinks they're fucking genius, right? Like, oh, I'm making so much money. Like there's all these like people on TikTok and Instagram, they're like, oh, you know, I don't have to work anymore. I'm making like $10,000 a day just from like this bot that works for me, or just from me like playing stock tips and whatever. Like, okay guys, like you guys have not been through a bear market. Obviously you think you're a fucking genius, and it's a survivorship bias. Okay, so so just be really skeptical of anyone giving you trading tips, giving you, I don't know, like it's like no, like to be an actual trader you have to go through a bull market, bear market, and then a bull market again, to have survived all those phases to actually know what the hell you're actually doing. It's one of those things where all these people are going to be like leaving their jobs and going, oh, I'm just going to be a trader and make money that way, when in reality the music's going to end one day and they're going to keep like putting money into things that that are crashing because they're used to just buying the dip, and one day the dip just doesn't stop dipping and it just keeps going lower, and then all of a sudden they go from trading, they go from like, oh, this was a trade, to this is an investment. The saying goes, I go for, you know, you go from a trader, you go from becoming a trader to just, you become forced to be an investor because you fucked up so hard that you don't want to sell, because you'll be in such a massive loss if you sell, that you're like, well, this is a good company or this is a good coin, I'll just hold on to it. Yeah, you know, you won't hold on to it. What you'll do is you'll sell the fucking bottom 3 years from now when you're like, I can't lose anymore, like you know, like, and so, and which is actually when you should be buying. Okay, so like 3 years from now, when the bull market is like destroyed everyone in the cryptocurrency world, that's when you guys should be getting in. Okay, not like now when things are like have gone to the moon already and your risk is high. Possibly, I don't know, there's probably a few more months left into this cycle. I think things, we're not at the euphoria stage yet. So like I'll just show like a quick market cycle psychology chart you're probably familiar with if you're not already. Basically it's like this one. Let me see. This one, this applies to every market, by the way, not just crypto or anything. This is like stocks, everything. So like psychology of a market cycle. In the beginning, disbelief, where that it's going up, people don't believe that it's going to go higher, but it does. And then you have optimism, belief, thrill, and at the end, the final, like I think we're at the thrill phase, where everyone's telling everyone to buy, retail investors are getting in, and then it's going to go even higher and everyone's going to be euphoric, and everyone's like, I'm a genius, we're all going to be rich. And then it's going to dump really hard and then bounce, and people are going to get complacent thinking like it's just going to go higher, but really what's going to do is it's going to go lower, drop, and people are going to feel anxiety, denial, panic, and eventually sell and be really angry, and then go through that bear market and people are depressed, and this depression might take like this low phase here might take like 2 or 3 years to pan out, and then it's gonna start going back up again because everyone who sold, there's no one left to sell anymore, and then it's gonna start going back up, and the cycle repeats with disbelief that it's gonna go back up. And this has been happening for hundreds of years. Okay, this is not just specific. This is not specific to any one market. This is because the people who are buying and selling are human beings, and emotions drive most of their decisions. And most people are uneducated and unable to control their feelings, unable to control their emotions. They feel FOMO, they feel panic, they will buy the top, sell the bottom, and this has been happening for a long time. This is nothing new under the sun. And that's all I have to say about that. Since we don't have any more questions, I'm gonna end the stream right there. And thank you all for your comments and support. And if you didn't take the survey, please take the survey. I'll just link to the survey right now. Link to the survey. And then what else? Oh yeah, join my mailing list so you can always get like the latest. Join my mailing list. Mailing list, so you'll always get the latest content and any discounts I have to offer every few months. And CC says that was very informative, and Jonas says thank you. You guys, thank you as well. You were very welcome. You guys have a great rest of your Sunday and wherever you are in the world. And Lusorak says thanks, sorry for making it so much about crypto. It's all good, man. It's all good. This is a free form kind of chat. Maybe some people like it, maybe some people don't. It's all good. I hope it's helpful to, you know, whoever's viewing, and I will talk to you guys later. Thanks again, and have a great rest of your Sunday.